A decade of police work has taken its toll on Detective Sergeant Peter Romanis.
It's very similar to having a sponge that continues to collect water that isn't wrung out. Eventually it can take no more.
He's led dozens of investigations, many of them high profile, like the Daylesford crash, which killed 5 people last year.
The amount of times I get into the car and turn to the person next to me and just let out a big sigh, and that's part of the release of the tension and the enormity of a situation that has had life-changing consequences for those involved. It's the tightness in the stomach, it's the constant nervousness and apprehension around approaching certain things that I just wasn't feeling myself.
He says it's not the crimes themselves, but the interactions with the people involved which have left a mark.
Irritability, not being able to switch off, being a bit cynical about the future and about the court system and the justice system and the police force itself.
He's describing symptoms of compassion fatigue.
It's really the combined effects of both burnout and secondary traumatic stress. There are so many emotional demands on them where the demands are just simply exceeding their abilities to cope.
Therapist and researcher Dr. Vanessa Rolfe says the condition is prevalent in caregiving roles like those in health and welfare.
Many people that I see do enter the profession because it really is part of their identity. When that's not going well, it can feel awful. It can feel like people don't know who they are. So if we're thinking about 20 to 50% that may be at high risk of compassion fatigue and we take into account all of those professions, that's a lot of people.
As many as 856 Victoria Police employees were off on work cover compensation at the start of this year. Most of them, more than 80%, were for mental injury.
You'll turn up to work on a Monday and suddenly a colleague that was there with you on Friday isn't there, and then you don't see them again. It's happened on a far too frequent basis.
How you going, guys? All right?
Victoria Police has a task force to help members return to work and an assistance program for staff and their families. For Peter, recovery has come about through an investigation of a different kind. He's headed up a research project into the condition and is now raising awareness to help others.
That trauma doesn't have to harm that person. It doesn't have to prevent them from continuing with a long and fruitful career. This is our 16-month-old puppy.
His best advice is early intervention and time well spent with the ones you love.
A lot of hair, a lot of slobber.
Is this ringing that sponge?
Absolutely it is, and it gets done on a very regular basis. Come on, buddy. I'm ringing my own sponge. I've got the skills to be able to ring my own sponge. What a good boy.
Mike Lorigan, ABC News, Melbourne.